Welcome everyone to Computer Science Explained. So, this is the webinar for you to know everything you need to know about computer science. Jadi di sini I see from the sign up page that a lot of you guys are super interested in computer science. Ada juga yang not interested in computer science, ada yang interested in like business, ada yang interested in ada satu yang dari computational media gitu. That's super cool. So ada orang-orang dari berbagai interest and berbagai majors. So I'm so excited to see you guys and yeah, let's start. So, let me introduce myself first. My name is Jason Chayono. I'm a software engineer at PayPal, the Silicon Valley, the Cupertino, San Jose. And I'm also a graduate from UC Berkeley studying computer science. I'm also the president of the Permias SFBA, which is an Indonesian student community in the San Francisco Bay Area. Also, I like to build stuff. I like to build stuff on the sites that kayak solves a real problem gitu. Jadi di sini aku ada pernah build Light, which is an all-in-one finance app. I built Blend, which won an award in Ivy Hacks 2020. And also, I'm super interested in building self-driving cars. So we'll dive deeper into these projects and how I built them later on inside the presentation. Tapi that's an overview about me. Okay, so let's start. Yeah, so the objective of this webinar, hopefully I can convince you that computer science gitu is beautiful. Mungkin the consensus says like computer science is really hard gitu. People say computer science is super difficult, and I'm not gonna apa ya deny that computer science is difficult. Tapi there's also a certain beauty in computing, and also there's a power kayak kamu dapat superpower gitu when learning computer science. Alright, so here is the table of contents, if you may. Jadi ada pertama, I'm gonna tell you what coding really is, and then the branches of CS careers, what are we gonna learn in CS, the projects outside of university, why study CS, and where you can start, and then in the end, we will have a Q&A. Jadi kalian bisa ask anything you wanna ask in the chat, and then nanti kalau misalnya kita lihat waktu, if we can answer all, that's great. Tapi kalau nggak bisa, Giselle will pick out the questions yang mungkin overlap gitu, jadi dijadiin satu, your burning questions. Alright. So first, what coding really is. Jadi mungkin ada banyak misconception gitu tentang coding. People don't really understand what coding really is. Jadi the formal definition of computer science is actually computer science is the study of computer and computational systems, blah 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 blah. But actually, coding is like teaching a foreign baby to do things. That's basically what coding is. And maksudnya apa sih foreign baby? Foreign meaning they don't speak the language of us gitu. Dia nggak speak English or nggak speak Indonesia, tapi this foreign baby speaks in numbers satu atau nol gitu. Jadi kayak satu nol satu nol satu nol gitu. Nah, dan kenapa baby? Karena baby actually don't know a lot of things. Baby is quite stupid gitu. Dan computer is like that. Computer tuh harus diajarin. Jadi kita harus ajar komputer everything from the details gitu. Dan this divided into 3 programs gitu. Pertama, define. Yang kedua, solve. Dan yang ketiga, translate. Jadi define itu basically kita define like the scope and the mechanisms of the program. We solve the program and then we translate the program into coding language. Nah, mungkin ini kayak nggak make sense gitu in the first place. So let's just dive into our first live demo gitu. Jadi ini super applicational, super jelas gitu. Langsung kita do it in a live demo. We're gonna make a program in 5 minutes gitu or less even. We're gonna make a rock paper scissors game in code like right now. Okay. So yang kayak tadi define, solve, and then translate. Kita mau bikin rock paper scissors game, right? Kita mau bikin rock paper scissors game. Pertama define. What is a rock paper scissors game gitu kan? Rock paper scissors game basically kayak there can be only 3 choices ya kan? There can be only 3 choices, which is rock paper scissors gitu kan? And then kedua, user can pick from one of the choices ya kan? And yang ketiga, the computer can pick from one of the choices too. Jadi user can pick from one of the choices, computer can pick from one of the choices, and after they pick, kan mereka nggak boleh lihat satu sama yang lain. Jadi mereka nggak boleh kayak, oh the user udah pilih apa, komputernya terus lihat, terus dia kayak pilih kertas gitu kan nggak boleh. Jadi they cannot see opponents hand before deciding. Jadi mereka harus decide-nya without the information of other people's hands, ya kan? That's defining the game. Habis itu compare hands, ya kan? After they choose the hands, they compare the hands. Compare-nya gimana? Rock beats scissors, right? Scissors beats paper. Paper beats rock. And if both have the same hand, it's a tie. Okay, so that's basically how it works. And the goal is to win, ya kan? The goal is to have a better hand. Basically winning. Winning is basically to have a better hand yang beats the other hand, right? Now solve. Maybe this is not the best example karena there's no strategy to this game. Jadi the strategy to this game is just pick randomly, right? Pick randomly. So the strategy is pick randomly. Tapi kalau misalnya we're making like a game of chess, for example, yang lebih susah, then the strategy can be like the opening strategy for chess. Gitu. Tapi kalau yang ini kita pick randomly. Jadi pick hand randomly. Alright. So now that we have defined the code and then we have solved the code strategy gitu, pick the strategy. Now kita tinggal translate. Translate-nya tuh gimana? I'm not gonna write the code, tapi this is the code. Super easy. I'm gonna explain it. Jadi di sini kita ada function rock paper scissors basically. Pertama, there can only be 3 choices, right? So choices cuma ada 3, rock, paper, atau scissors, ya kan? User can pick from one of the choices. User can input, enter your choice, ya kan? Computer can pick from one of the choices, tapi dia kan pick hand randomly. Jadi komputer itu random.choice choices. Nah ini kalian nggak perlu tahu sih sebenarnya maksudnya apa. Tapi basically ini like one-to-one translation from this. That's why it's called translate. Jadi habis define, solve, and then translate, right? And then we print the user choose what, and then we print the computer choose what, and then we compare the hands, right? If user choice equals to computer choice, then it's a tie. If user choice is rock, computer choice is scissors, atau scissors paper, atau paper rock, then you win, ya kan? Else you lose. Jadi let's run this program. This is super simple. And then, so we run the program di kanan sini. So enter your choice, paper, right? And then user choose paper, computer choose rock, and then win. So this is basically coding. This is basically you making a rock, paper, scissors game, building on your own based on defining the code, solving the code, and then just translating. So here we can see that translating is the easy part. Translating itu tinggal one-to-one translation from the definition to this, right? It's the easy part. Yang susah adalah how do you define the game? So we have a problem, misalnya we want to make a rock, paper, scissors game. The hard part is to define perfectly kayak into the fundamental parts seperti kayak gini. Dan ini mungkin rock, paper, scissors game itu gampang karena it's a game. Tapi in more complex problems, you need to break down the problem into smaller problems, smaller definitions. Itu lebih susah. Dan this is where the hard part is. So that's what coding really is. And the misconception is that, oh, susah ngafalin programming language gitu. Susah ngafalin Java, Python, C++. There's so many language. Sebenarnya translating from English to programming language in Python itu the easy part. The hard part is the logic and problem solving. Okay, so next we go into branches of CS careers. What can you do as a CS major atau CS student gitu kan? There's a lot of many different career path for a CS student. Yang pertama, of course, in the tech world gitu. Ada software engineer, ada hardware engineer, ada systems engineer. Ini bikin sistem kayak Amazon punya warehouse atau Tokopedia punya warehouse gitu. Systems engineer. Web developer for building websites, right? ML engineer, ini tuh machine learning engineer. Jadi kalau misalnya the people behind like ChatGPT, if you all know ChatGPT, those are the works of ML engineers. Kita juga ada UX designer. UX designer tuh kayak designing misalnya I want an app gitu, buttonnya ditaruh di mana ya, di atas atau di bawah, the home page itu di kiri atau di kanan gitu. That's UX designer. Security analyst, mungkin kita mau bikin a protection to our program supaya attackers nggak bisa masuk. Data scientist, kalau misalnya kita ada banyak data, kita bisa analyze that data and make decisions from it. QA tester tuh quality assurance tester. Jadi before our code, before misalnya Facebook gitu mau release a feature in Instagram, before they push it to the public, mereka bisa testing dulu by QA testers, and then baru dipublish ke public. And then yang terakhir kita bisa juga jadi startup founder. Why? Because biasanya kayak startup kayak Gojek atau Apple even dulu atau Tesla dulu itu semua comes from an idea, but with coding you can turn that idea into a real project gitu, real car for Tesla, real software for Gojek misalnya. Itu dengan cara coding. Ini bukan semuanya. Ini bukan semua CS career yang ada di situ. Kita juga bisa masuk yang non tech. Kita bisa masuk ke bisnis, kita bisa masuk ke sales, kita bisa masuk ke marketing. Semuanya kita bisa masuk lewat our CS degree. Why? Because CS itu sebenarnya more than just remembering programming language. We are doing problem solving all the time. And many of the careers right now, kayak almost all of the careers di sini requires problem solving. So expertise in CS can lead to can help out in the skills for your next career anywhere it is. Mau tech, mau non tech, even in sales or business itu bisa. So that's branches of CS careers. Nah, sekarang kita mulai masuk ke the interesting part. What do we actually learn sih di CS gitu? CS tuh ada banyak banget classes-classes yang kita bisa ambil. First kita ada mungkin web development classes, kita juga ada database, ada operating systems, kita ada banyak banget classes. In my journey in 4 years of college, I took 30 CS classes, which is the normal amount I think. But I want to highlight two specific case for you, classes yang super memorable for me, so you guys know kayak what to expect in a class gitu, in a CS class. First, computer security. So computer security itu apa sih kelasnya? Computer security is basically the class for you to figure out like the weak points, the holes gitu, the holes in a program supaya kita bisa protect it, right? But for us to protect it, we need to know where the holes are, di mana bolong-bolongnya di mana, supaya kita bisa protect itu kan. Jadi what we learn in the first 2 weeks of this class is how to hack into a program supaya kita tahu bolongnya di mana, supaya kita bisa diajarin untuk protect the holes. Nah, sekarang kita bakal ada live hacking demo, which is really cool. Today, I'm gonna hack an airline system. Jadi, bayangin kita lagi mau beli tiket, misalnya dari Jakarta ke Surabaya. Nah, kita mau beli tiket business class, tapi dengan harga ekonomi gitu. Harusnya nggak bisa, tapi we can do it. So, this is a program that I made. Let's clear this out. Kita gedein ini sedikit ya. Alright. So we have a program called Security Pi. This is just a demo. So first enter your first name, right? Jason. Okay. Last name Cahyono. Cahyono. Okay. Now enter your seat class. Economy. Okay. The ticket price is $100. Let's say that this is from Jakarta to Surabaya gitu. This is just a demo, right? The ticket price is $100. Enter OK to confirm the price. I don't want because okay, invalid input, booking canceled. Why? Because I want business class seats, right? So let's try it again. Jason Cahyono, and then business, right? The seat class is business. Oh, the ticket price is $500. Ooh, it's pretty expensive. So enter OK to confirm the price. Nggak mau deh. Aku maunya business class tapi economy tickets. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so enter your first name, Jason, right? Okay. Enter your last name. Coba kalau aku ganti my last name. Kayak Dharma Wangsa gitu. Dharma Wangsa, oke lah. Terus enter your seat class, economy. Okay. Your ticket price is 100. Enter OK to confirm the price. Okay lah, let's do it. Okay, we got our ticket. Here's your ticket. Full name, Jason Dharmawang. And then we have an error. Invalid seed class. There's no such thing as Saonomi. Okay, this is weird, right? Because kenapa my last name is Darmawang? Terus kan harusnya aku Dharma Wangsa. Tapi ini jadi Saonomi, which is like basically kalau SA ini ketimpa ke sini. Oh my god. We have an overflow. Ini namanya overflow. Which means yang ini bocor, sa-nya ini bocor ke ekonomi. Which means if I do this, this can happen when kalau misalnya aku masukin Cahyono gini, Jason Cahyono, tapi aku nggak enter nih. Aku kasih ini tadi ada berapa? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Nah, aku ada berapa? Cahyono. Cahyono ada 8. Okay. So I do space space Cahyono space space terus business. Right? So enter your seat class economy. Your ticket price is $100. Okay. Fine. And here's your ticket kelasnya business. So I got a business class from an economy price. First, why does it happen? Karena ada namanya overflow. This is called buffer overflow, dimana kayak the memory in the last name itu berdempetan sama the memory in the seed class, so that when I kayak masukin too much gitu kayak di sini, dia bakal overflow ke the seed class. Oh okay, now that I know this, ini nggak bakal terjadi di real world, right? Gitu, right? Wrong, because this is the most common attack in the internet ever gitu. Kayak this is the most common attack until now. So buffer overflow is actually kayak this easy and this common. So actually now we know that one of the vulnerabilities, one of the weak points of the security, now we can exploit it and also we can protect it. Nah, jadi itu that's a demo, sekedar demo aja of what we learn in computer security. There's so much more yang super interesting in computer security, but that's just like an example because we don't have time actually. Yeah. Okay. Next, ada satu kelas lagi yang super memorable for me, computer vision. Computer vision itu apa? Basically, computer vision ask the problem kayak how does a computer see things? How does a computer see its surroundings, right? We know that the eyes of the computer is the camera, right? The camera. But how does it actually processes image gitu kan? Karena kan kamera itu kan cuma produce image, which has a lot of pixels, ya kan? Pixels, kotak-kotak kecil. Dan pixelnya bisa antara kayak misalnya warna merah, warna biru, warna hijau, atau terus habis itu warna apa, putih atau apa. Tapi how do you know that this arrangement of pixels is a car atau this arrangement of pixels is a dog gitu kan? Mungkin for our eyes it's like of course it's a dog gitu, of course it's a dog, of course it's a cat gitu. Tapi buat kamera I think it's really different and difficult. And how do we know gitu? How do we explain to the computer ini tuh sebenarnya apa gitu? Ini tuh sebenarnya anjing, ini tuh kucing gitu, ini tuh mobil. Nah, itu sebenarnya lebih susah. So that's basically computer vision. And for the final project in my class, we have a neural style transfer project. So style transfer project itu apa? We have this. So basically we have a style image. Ini gambarnya Vincent van Gogh. And then we have a content image. Content image itu kayak just my photograph of the gingerbread house that I made. Pretty good, right? And then we take the style of the Vincent van Gogh punya picture, and then we put it into the content image, right? And then the resulting image is like this. So to emphasize, this is not just kayak overlaying kayak the warna-warnanya Van Gogh terus di kayak filter Instagram gitu. Enggak. This is different. Karena if we zoom in, it actually changes like the brush strokes. It actually changes the content to be kayak to follow the brush strokes of Van Gogh. Jadi ini literally bukan cuma overlay kayak filter, tapi ini kayak changes the content image entirely. So now a question arises gitu kan. How do we do this gitu? How do we take the style of something and then put it inside the content image gitu kan? And what is style? What is style? How do we tell the computer to take kayak gimana cara aku bisa program komputernya kayak ambil dong stylenya ini terus masukin ke sini gitu. What is style? What is essence gitu? Kita ngambil essence-nya kan basically of Vincent van Gogh. Apa sih itu essence gitu kayak it's super complicated and it is complicated. So we use math for this. Tapi akhirnya kita bisa produce this, right? And this is the final project of my class. This is the most interesting project for me. And after we can do this, kita bisa masukin itu ke banyak image-image lain. Misalnya kita bisa masukin ke sini Andy Warhol punya project, punya painting maksudnya. Andy Warhol punya painting yang di kiri ini kita bisa masukin ke image, jadinya kayak gini. The style bisa transfer. Kita masukin Mona Lisa, right? Ke sini ini. Kita bisa masukin even my own painting. This is my own painting yang di bawah kiri. Kita masukin ke my picture, and then kita dapat the picture with my style of painting. So this is really cool because kayak we get the visuals gitu, kayak we can create art based on the style of other people's art, which is super cool I think. So this is computer vision. So kita ada dua yang memorable, computer security and computer vision. Itu yang kita learn in class. Tapi ada juga some things that we can learn outside of university. So ada apa aja sih activities yang kita bisa do related to CS, of course. Yang pertama, we can join hackathons. So this is my experience in hackathons. Jadi I joined Ivy Hacks 2020. So this is the first Ivy League hackathon. So the Ivy League colleges kayak Yale, Harvard, Brown, Columbia dan lain-lain itu mereka host a hackathon which is a coding competition. In 4 days you have to build something gitu, kayak you have to build a product in 4 days. Jadi kita beneran kayak hampir nggak tidur gitu. And then we demo it, and then there's judges, and then there's awards gitu basically. Nah, what we create, Blend is a casual virtual space. Basically kayak this is 2020 when the COVID is like on the peak gitu, peak banget. Dan banyak orang yang udah super fatigue with Zoom, namanya Zoom fatigue gitu. Kayak udah Zoom is super professional, Zoom is super kayak businessy banget lah. I want to create like a casual hangout space. Ini sebelum kayak Kumo space and everything. Jadi I want to create like a hangout space gitu with beautiful backgrounds, lo-fi music, of course. Ada juga kayak real-time video conferencing and passwordless sign-in. Jadi gampang banget kita bikin ini buat solve Zoom fatigue problem. And thankfully kita menang best design. Our team, they're very great. Ada satu designer kita namanya Daya. She's really good at designing. She designs all the visuals. And yeah, so that's my experience in hackathons. And hackathons are a really good way to build something really fast gitu. Learn to build something really fast. And then secondly, aku juga outside of school, aku make my own projects gitu. Jadi this is what I made. I made Slide, which is an all-in-one platform finance app gitu. Jadi the problem is kayak outside of Indo, having your own life, independent life, it's super hard to manage money for me. So I need to build an app so that I can put in my transaction semuanya, and then aku bisa misalnya split my transaction with friends atau kayak line split bill gitu. I implement that in my program. So we have a live product demo juga, secret.slide.so. Let's go there. Okay, so this is secret.slide.so. Yeah. So here we can see ada budgeting ya kan, to know that kayak kita over budget atau enggak. Shoppingnya udah 40% nih sebenarnya. Okay. And then we can input our transaction. Misalnya kita makan apa ya? Kita makan Gyukaku gitu. Kita makan Gyukaku like $80 or something. And then di sini kita bisa kategorinya food, and then date-nya kita bisa masukin kayak last Friday for example. So semuanya ke log di sini, dan ini juga spendingnya nambah. And then I can delete it. Or kalau misalnya aku makan bareng temen, I can do like this is me, this is siapa ya, Marvel misalnya, ada Michael juga. Jadi kita bisa split equally misalnya, atau enggak split with receipt. Kalau with receipt is like line split bill. Kalau equally, then kayak kita bisa dapat this UI which is ada aku 26,68, sisanya Marvel and Michael 26,66. And then kita bisa kayak charge them. So Venmo is like GoPay di Indo. Jadi kita bisa copy the link and then kayak request money from them gitu, kayak udah selesai. Terus kalau misalnya kita udah selesai, kita bisa resolve and then the Marvel is gone. Jadi maksudnya dia udah bayar the utang. Jadi kita bisa resolve gini. Jadi kita ada all the logs gitu. The logs of siapa yang udah bayar, siapa yang belum bayar gitu. Ini kayak gini, Link belum bayar atau Giselle juga belum bayar gitu. Jadi itu kita bisa do that. And also we can group transaction. Jadi kayak kalau misalnya kita pergi ke Bali together gitu, ini bisa ada grup, misalnya group name-nya Bali 2023 or something, and then kita bisa adain membersnya, misalnya kayak ada Giselle and Link gitu, kita bisa create, and then ini ada Bali 2023, we can put in our transactions, karena biasanya sometimes I pay for something, Giselle pays for something, Link pays for something, jadi kayak everybody pays for something dan kita bisa resolve everything di grup ini. So this is what I made to menggampangkan my life gitu basically lah. This is just a demo. This is my real transactions for July. So oh my god, banyak banget ya, 5.000. Oke. This is because I had a deposit. I moved house, jadi kayak I had a deposit. Tapi kalau we change the category to excluded, jadi ini kayak oke, nggak kehitung guys, nggak kehitung. And then kita refresh, hopefully it doesn't break. Alright, oke, jadi 3.015. Jadi oke, this is more reasonable lah, more reasonable. Okay, yes, okay. So that slide, that's what I made to manage my finances lah basically. That's a project outside of university. Nah juga ada self-driving cars. So this is super exciting. I'm super interested in self-driving cars karena kayak it's really cool to see kayak cars yang gak ada supirnya. It's much more safer. Dan I will explain this one by one. Jadi this is how a car sees gitu kan, pakai kamera. Nah di sini ini dua, yang kanan itu namanya segmentation, which can segment which one is the road, which one is another car, which one is the lines, which one yang buildings gitu. Jadi ini important supaya kita bisa tahu where the line is and where the other cars is gitu. Di sini juga yang di tengah atas ini juga to detect, ini namanya object detection, to detect where the car is and pedestrians gitu. Karena pedestrians is super important juga. Kita nggak mau nabrak orang of course. Jadi this is super important to recognize like which one is the cars and pedestrians supaya kita bisa act accordingly. Nah, yang di bawah sini itu namanya LiDAR sensor. Jadi ini dua sama. This is basically sensor to map out the 3D world. Jadi sensornya kayak gini. Nah, ini aku lagi gerak-gerak gitu kan. Ini sensornya. And aku gerak-gerak gini, dia bisa langsung ke map 3D ke sini. This is really important for the car supaya dia bisa lihat like in 3D which car is going kayak berapa cepat dan kita bisa plan accordingly. Dan yang di kiri atas ini basically reinforcement learning. What the reinforcement learning means itu kita teach the car how to drive on its own. Jadi kita let the car do anything, tapi kita kasih reward kalau misalnya it goes closer to the goal, dan kita kasih punishment kalau dia goes further away from the goal. Jadi kita udah kasih goal nih, misalnya ini car-nya di sini, terus ini goal-nya. Nah, kalau misalnya car-nya boleh ngapain aja, dia random gitu pertamanya random, jadi dia bisa mundur, tapi kalau mundur di punish. So, oke, dia ngerti gitu lama-lama, kayak oh jangan mundur, dia maju. Oh dapat reward, dia maju lagi. Oh dapat reward, maju lagi. Dan after that they can make turns gitu, misalnya kayak dia bisa belok kayak gini, karena mungkin punishmentnya itu waktu kena grass gitu. Jadi they try to not get into the grass, terus they get rewards when they are in the ground. So here is the after 10 million times of reward punishment, dia bisa drive on its own. So this is pretty cool. And yang di bawah kanan itu a prototype of the self-driving car that we made. Ini ada sensornya di atas, and this is the car which is functional, which is crazy. Okay, so that's the projects outside of university. We can join hackathons, we can join our own we can build our own solution. Kalau misalnya kita ada problem, misalnya managing finance atau apa problem, kita bisa build our own solutions, atau enggak just do something that's out of passion gitu, misalnya kayak self-driving cars. So that's what you can do outside of university. Finally, why study CS, right? Why study CS? I think there are 3 reasons why we should study CS. Even kalau misalnya kalian majornya bukan computer science, kalian bisa bisnis gitu, I think it's also a good choice to study coding. Kenapa? Karena pertama, it opens up opportunities for lucrative career path. Lucrative meaning kayak high demand, high salary. Karena di US especially, software engineers are like one of the most paid employees, which is why kita ini stabil gitu, mungkin dari financial standpoint itu lumayan stabil karena we have the highest pay. And then work-life balance juga enak. Kalau misalnya kalian lihat reels kita di secretproject.ai, ada a day in the life of a software programmer, and many people DM me saying kayak, ih enak banget jam 2 udah selesai gitu, kayak nggak perlu sampai jam 5, jam 2 udah selesai, atau masuk jam 10 siang banget gitu kan. Itu enak because I'm in tech gitu, and software engineers are treated that way. Tapi selain itu kita juga bisa dapat well-rounded skills. Why? Because CS is not just memorizing. Again, CS is not just memorizing programming language. CS is solving problems. And by solving problems, kita bisa know like how to break down problems into smaller problems, how to solve them efficiently. Dan di sini itu super useful banget for any career path, not only in CS. Kita juga bisa search for solutions. Jadi kalau misalnya kita nggak tahu, kita have the skill set to search it up. And this is super relevant, especially in the age of ChatGPT, di mana kita bisa get all the answers we need. Searching knowledge is more valuable than ever because we need to search, we need to ask ChatGPT the right questions to get the right answers. And in CS, we are taught to ask the right questions. How do we search? How do we get information? So we get well-rounded skills from studying CS. And the third thing, and I think the most important, is to make an impact, to make the world a better place. And I think this is super important karena coding itu allows you to materialize your ideas. Jadi misalnya kalian ada problem lah, problem apa aja. And then kalian udah think of a solution nih kayak, oh I have the idea to solve the problem. But with coding, kita bisa really make it happen. Jadi think Apple, think Google, think Tokopedia, think Gojek gitu. Misalnya I want to make Uber tapi buat motor. If we don't study CS, then that's just an idea. Tapi when you study CS, you can really materialize that. I want to make Uber for motor. I can code that into real world solutions, which now changes Indonesia at least. So that's the three reasons why you should study CS. And of course, the obvious question is where you can start. Where can you start? Alright, so let's recap first. Kita udah mau selesai. Let's recap what we have learned. Yang pertama adalah kita udah learn that coding is like teaching a foreign baby to do things. Foreign baby karena kita harus translate right into their language, which is coding language. The translation is the easy part, right? The hard part is to define and solve the problem di sini. Translate-nya tinggal translate aja dari English to Python, one to one. Tapi defining and solving is more difficult. And then we did that, we proved that by making an RPS game, rock paper scissors, RPS keren ya, RPS game. Jadi di sini kita use the define, solve, and translate a method to make an RPS game in like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then kita juga udah belajar that CS is not only important for the tech careers, tapi kita juga bisa bercabang ke other careers like business, sales, marketing, consulting, and even other non-tech careers. Habis itu kita juga udah belajar tentang the classes that we can take in CS. Misalnya kita udah belajar tentang computer security and how to hack an airline, how to hack an airline to have business class seats, but with economy pricing. Don't try that, by the way. Don't try that. That's illegal, right? Okay. And then kita juga udah showcase neural style transfer, which is taking the essence of an image and then putting it into a content image dan menjadi a mash up image in the style of the other image. And then kita juga udah belajar tentang what to do outside of university. Kita ada hackathon, join hackathon, which is a coding competition yang cuma 4 days to build something and then you get judged and win awards. And kita juga bisa build something out of your own problem. Misalnya aku susah banget buat manage finance, aku nggak tahu aku spend berapa sebulan. Jadi I made slide for my spendings. Yes. And then selain itu kita juga bisa make something out of passion gitu. Misalnya kita mau bikin self-driving cars, we're super passionate about kayak making the road a better place gitu, a safer environment. Bukan kayak di Indo gitu. Di Indo kan semuanya salip-salipan. If we have all self-driving cars, there wouldn't be salip-salipan, there wouldn't be macet, kecelakaan juga minimum. So that's self-driving cars. And then terakhir kita juga belajar why we should study CS. It's because we have the academic well-roundedness, we have the opportunity to get a lucrative career path, and then kita juga bisa change the world. So that's what we've learned. And this is my CS journey. So probably this can be helpful too because I want to share like where I came from, where my process is supaya kalian mungkin bisa do the same thing dan hopefully get even progress from this. Karena I know that there's some of you yang masih SMP atau SMA, and I did this when I graduate high school. Aku baru mulai when I graduate high school. So this may be a head start for you. Okay, So when I graduated high school in 2019, before I graduate, I took some coding lessons. So this is the first lesson that bring me to coding. Pertama, the web developer bootcamp. Basically, how to make websites from scratch gitulah. How to make websites from scratch. The web developer bootcamp. And then I also took algorithms and data structures bootcamp. I also learned modern React bootcamp. Semuanya dari Udemy. Ini tahun 2019. And also at the time I also built like small simple projects lah, small simple project yang bisa I put to my university application. And then in 2020 I went to college. Okay, I went to the US and then I joined Garuda Hacks 2020. This is where kayak COVID happens juga. Jadi I joined a lot of hackathons. Ada dua. Yang pertama Garuda Hacks and thankfully we won best beginner hackers. So ini the best like first time hackers. And then because we won best beginner hackers, the sponsor of the hackathon namanya Kotter, they noticed us and then they offered me an internship position, software engineer intern di Kotter. Jadi that's also the benefit of joining hackathon, to get an internship. Nah, habis itu kita ada join again Ivy Hacks 2020, which is the hackathon from the Ivy League, and thankfully also we won best design. After I finished the internship from Kotter, I got an internship in Kerja.io as a product and software intern. And then because of that, because I have 2 internship experience, the next year I can get a software engineer intern position di PayPal. That's because I have some experience interning. And then in the meantime, I also built Slide, the finance app that I showed you earlier. Itu juga as my side project during the internship. And then because I interned here in 2022, after the internship ends, mereka thankfully offered me a return offer. Jadi return offer is basically an offer to work for the company after you graduate. And I took that offer, and that's why I'm now a software engineer in PayPal. And on the side, I also learned some other courses. Yang pertama, Electron and React.js, and then self-driving car nano degree, and then also I did the self-driving car project on the side while being a PayPal software engineer in 2023. So that's my CS journey. And if I can summarize the secret road, I would say the secret road to a CS career is first learn CS fundamentals, and then second build fashion projects from the CS fundamentals that you already learn. Jadi misalnya kalian udah learn in Python, and then you can build like simple projects yang solve maybe your problem gitu. You make a game to solve your boredom, you make a finance app to solve your finance gitu mungkin. And then once you have those projects going on, you can put those projects into your university application, right? And then your chances of getting accepted to the universities yang top itu gets higher, right? So you attend a good CS program. And in those colleges, biasanya hackathons are hosted by college, kayak Ivy Hacks kan by Ivy League schools. Kalau misalnya dari Berkeley ada namanya Cal Hacks, kalau dari Stanford ada 3 Hacks. Jadi biasanya hackathons itu dari college. And once you're in the good CS program in college, you can join college hackathon, and hopefully you can win, and then you can get the eyes of like some company sponsors yang can get you internships. And when you get internships, you can secure a full-time job by getting a return offer yang kayak tadi. Jadi that's the secret road to success. And I know that kalian ada yang SMP, ada yang SMA. That means kalian is way ahead of me because I started in 2019 while I graduated high school. You guys yang masih kelas 11, kelas 10 even, that's a really good time to do the secret road supaya kalian bisa ahead, years ahead even. And this is where we come in. We as Secret Project, kita tuh ngapain sih gitu? Kita tuh basically a project-based coding academy geared towards AI. And there are 3 reasons why we do this gitu kan. Kayak masih banyak courses coding di Indo gitu kayak ada banyak. Tapi sebenarnya if you see the coding academies outside di Indo, kalian bisa lihat that most of them, 90% of them are about web or app development. Itu semua namanya full stack development. Kalau misalnya kalian lihat coding course terus ada tulisannya full stack development, that's basically web design. Jadi making websites. And I think that that's good because that's where I started 4 years ago. I started with web design. Tapi now I think it's different. It's a different era karena now in ChatGPT I can just make a website in like 5 minutes. and I can just like copy paste the code and then I get a website. So I think now it's a different era, and now we need to learn how to use and develop AI. So this is where we come in karena AI courses are not yet available in Indo at all. This is the first reason. The second reason is that I think the best way to learn coding is through projects. And not only for you to learn kayak faster through project base, kalian juga bisa put the projects into your resume or your university applications so that kalian bisa lebih banyak chancesnya to get into top universities. That's the goal. And the third reason is we want to cultivate a builder community in Indonesia where they're super passionate in solving real world problems and super passionate in building. We want to create that in Secret Project. And kita juga nggak cuma kasih course, tapi kita juga build a community of builders. So that's what we are. So what we provide. What do we provide? We have made a really amazing curriculum dari awal from Python for Babies, I would say. Jadi kayak fundamental Python until the use and development of AI. We have already made a curriculum, and this is the plan. This is just the 8 courses pertamanya, belum sampai the full curriculum. Jadi kita mulai dari Python for Babies, of course, and then we can see here kita ada mini project 1, mini project 2, and then kita ada Python 102, and then kita ada big project 1, mini project 3, then intermediate Python, then mini project 4. Now we can see that the theoretical itu cuma 1, 2, 3, and the mini projects and big projects itu ada 5. So in 8 courses, which is super kecil ya, in 8 courses ini baru banget, kalian udah bikin 5 project. So this is super focus on project base, which is emang our goal kayak gitu, karena you get to learn and you get to put your projects in your resume and you can be proud of your projects. Nah, tapi selain courses, of course, selain courses dari kita, ada banyak courses lain yang kalian bisa take benefit of. Misalnya, the Web Develop Bootcamp yang I started from, itu dari Udemy. And then ada juga Modern React Bootcamp, tapi ini buat more intermediate yang kayak udah bisa coding. So this is also from Udemy. And if you want like the advanced one, it's Self-Driving Car Nano Degree. I think this is also a really good course, tapi it can take like 5 months to complete. So this is super advanced, and kalian harus at least kayak second year or third year of university to understand the course gitu. Jadi this is the course that we provide. And as for you guys, our webinar participants, we want to give you the chance to take the first look into Secret Projects courses. So we haven't published this to anyone, tapi for the first 2, ada Python for Babies and Mini Project 1, we will publish it to you. We will share the link to you for free, and I think you will like it because in just 2 courses kalian udah make your own project which you can be proud of. So we will give the link. I will share the link to you of the first module and also the mini project 1 by the end of the week, and the first module right after this webinar. Second, kita juga nggak mau cuma courses, tapi we also want to make really good programs. Jadi pertama kita ada mega project. Mega project itu apa? Mega project is super exciting because mega project is basically a course around a center topic. Jadi one center topic. Tapi in the final project, kalian bisa bikin apa aja yang kalian mau based on that central topic. Jadi basically, misalnya kita ada object detection mega project. Kita bakal teach you like a normal course, how object detection work, how to make object detection programs. Terus kita bakal ada mini project together lah buat kayak kalian familiar about object detection. Tapi after that, the final project, kalian bisa bikin apa aja yang kalian mau yang berhubungan dengan object detection. Misalnya, kalian mau bikin kayak an object detection program di mana kalian kalau misalnya pakai webcam, terus dia bisa notify kalau misalnya orang nggak pakai masker. Kalau nggak pakai masker, red light. Kalau misalnya pakai masker, green light. This is super beneficial for kayak healthcare professionals gitu kan. So that's object detection related. Atau enggak kalau misalnya kalian mau bikin another project, misalnya you have outside your apartment, you have a parking space, banyak parking space, terus selalu full. Nah, I want to put a camera di luar, and then pakai object detection supaya bisa detect if there's a free space gitu. If there's a free space in the parking lot, I get notified supaya aku bisa masuk ke situ. So that's also related to mega project, which is also a really good project to build. So the final project can be anything related to that mega project. Here you can unleash your creativity and also any of your ideas into the mega project. Last, ada Secret Club. which is I think this is the most exciting thing about Secret Project. Secret Club is basically 6 weeks. You can build anything from idea to deployment. Kalian bisa bikin anything. Misalnya kalian mau bikin kayak I want to make a job apps, job matching app kayak Tinder. Jadi aku kalau swipe left aku nggak mau job itu, kalau swipe right aku mau job itu. You can do that. Atau enggak kalian mau bikin misalnya I want to make an AI playlist supaya kalau misalnya aku masukin misalnya kayak I want a playlist yang sad galau music. An AI will create a playlist for you, a whole playlist, Spotify playlist yang sad galau music Indo gitu. So you can build that idea, and we will guide you throughout the way. Kita bakal guide you setiap minggu kita bakal ada lectures from kayak idea generation, how to create, how to come up with an idea, what ideas are good to build, how to build the idea, how to deploy it to the public, and how to get users and how to monetize your idea supaya kalian bisa dapat duit. Itu juga kita bakal guide you throughout the way with lecture sessions, and then kita juga bakal ada online lab sessions biar kalian bisa collaborate with each other, kayak ask feedback from each other, jadi kalian bisa work on it together. And then terakhir kalian bakal ada demo day. Demo day di akhir tuh setelah 6 weeks kalian udah deploy, kalian udah publish, dan kalian bisa demo it to your friends, family, atau even kayak other builders like you. So that's gonna be a demo day yang di akhir of Secret Club 6 weeks. Dan yang terakhir kita ada Secret Hacks 2024. Hopefully next year kita bisa ada hackathon, our own hackathon, di mana kita bisa build real world solutions in just 4 days. So this is also coming soon, hackathon. Super exciting. So this is the Secret Academy. Kita ada courses yang pertama buat fundamentals. Kita ada courses buat mini projects. Kita ada big projects. Kita ada mega projects, which is like yang tadi udah dijelasin. Kita ada Secret Club Season 1. This is 6 weeks, build anything you want, from idea to the deployment, to getting users, to monetization. And then we have Secret Hacks 2024, build real world solutions in just 4 days. So this is the Secret Academy, and here's the secret link. This is gonna be your secret society. If you want to scan the link, I will give you time to scan the link. This will be your secret society. This is your secret community, di mana there will be updates on the Secret Academy. There will be introduction supaya kalian bisa kenalan with each other, supaya kalian bisa find partners mungkin buat build together, and kalian bisa brainstorm ideas juga di sini. This is the Secret Society. Kalian bisa scan this code and join. Kayak this is a WhatsApp group, by the way. And you can also invite other people, and please only invite potential builders, kayak orang yang passionate in building stuff like you. So I will give you a minute to scan this code and join our secret community, secret society, di mana kita bisa have updates together and build together. Alright, so if you don't listen to this webinar at all, kalau misalnya kalian in the end kalian nggak remember anything that I say, but remember this one thing: coding is the superpower that you need to make an impact in this modern world. Karena this modern world sekarang semuanya butuh software, semuanya butuh coding. So coding is like having a superpower. And if you want to make an impact, you gotta learn how to code. So terakhir, Q&A session. I think this is the best section buat kalian nanya-nanya. Kalau misalnya kalian ada pertanyaan apapun, you can raise your hand or put down in the comments. Harusnya kita masih ada waktu kayak 5 menit to answer some of the questions. Jadi Giselle, mungkin ada beberapa questions yang overlap gitu. Kalian ada nanya mungkin the same questions atau gimana? Giselle will kayak summarize it into one question, and then I can answer it supaya save time juga.
Yes, thank you, Jason. We have 1, 2, 3 questions. The first question is from Madeline. What basic programming languages and skills should we pursue? And adding to that from Darren, Python, C++, Java, which one do you use more?
Yes. That's a really great question. Thank you. Siapa Madeline
and Darren.
Darren, thank you so much for that question. So this is very important because some programming language has different purpose than other programming language. Jadi misalnya kita study JavaScript. JavaScript is for web development. So I started with JavaScript. So JavaScript is to make websites, make apps gitu. Itu semuanya pakai JavaScript. Tapi kalau Python, biasanya kita make AI, kita build data analysis, itu biasanya pakai Python. And sekarang kayaknya more and more people use Python more than ever karena the AI boom Python menjadi super popular.
Okay, sounds good. Second question. Two more questions. One is for our high schoolers, and the other is for the one looking for jobs. Sekarang lumayan banyak yang lagi cari full-time job juga. But second question from Justin. What should I do as a 10th grader to boost my profile? Did you join math or physics competition?
Yes, this is a really great question for all of you yang 10th graders. Pasti kalian juga sekarang udah beginning to think about kayak your future gitu. Mungkin kayak where do I want to major in, what competition should I join, atau what project should I build supaya bisa boost my profile gitu kan, to get into a top university. That's good that you're thinking about it now when you're still a 10th grader. It actually depends on your major. So first what you need to do is to know your major, what you're gonna major in. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian mau physics, do more physics competition. Kalau kalian mau math, do more math competition. Tapi kalau kalian udah tahu kalian mau major in CS, I suggest that you guys can start by learning how to code first and then building little projects, mini projects I would say, mini projects di mana it has an impact on you gitu. It solves your problem. In that way, kalian bisa ada a lot of projects in your bank supaya nanti when university application comes, you can just mention like all of your projects. Dan this is super attractive to the university recruiters karena they want to know your passion. If you're passionate in coding, then you need to prove it by doing a lot of coding projects, right? So I think coding projects, if you want to major in CS, then coding projects is the best way to get into top university.
Okay, so make mini projects that solves our problem. So during our uni app, we can mention all of the projects yang bisa attract uni recruiters. So that's a good suggestion. Thank you. And last question. This is a job related question from Justin. What do you do as a software engineer at PayPal? Is it better to work for big tech companies or try to start your own company or a startup?
That is a really great question. That's a really great question. And you know, kayak there are these two choices, right? Kayak should you work on a startup by yourself or with a partner tapi from scratch, atau kalian go into like the normal professional career gitu. I think there are two considerations for it karena the job is really different. Kalau as a startup founder, you need to be a generalist di mana kalian harus bisa semua, dari coding, dari sales, dari analyzing the market. Itu semua kalian harus punya the skills for it. Tapi kalau misalnya kalian mau masuk ke professional, kalian harus lebih specialist. Specialist meaning kalian harus be really good but in that one specific task gitu. Misalnya in the question kan ada pertanyaannya, what do I do in PayPal? I am in the identity team. Identity meaning kayak we take care of logins, authentication. Jadi making sure you are what you say you are, ya kan? Mungkin login kayak, oh it's just password, right? It's just making password. It's actually more complicated than that. Karena kalau misalnya misalnya kita login, kita notice ada login, orangnya orang US, tapi dia bisa login gitu. Jadi passwordnya match, tapi dari China misalnya. Oh, okay. Then that's a red flag karena the country of residence beda sama the country of login. Mungkin ke hack. Jadi kita juga harus take care of that gitu maksudnya. And about like the startup atau professional jobs, I think it's based on your preference. Do you like working as a generalist atau as a specialist? Atau juga kayak mungkin pasti di startup world it's more intense, it's more kayak workload. Kalau misalnya di professional mungkin lebih nyantai gitu. Atau even you want to take the professional career and also build a startup in the side gitu. Itu juga bisa. Jadi there are so many options and the consideration is that the different job desk itu kalian bisa handle atau enggak gitu. Thank you for the question. I think we can do one more question.
From Darren, how do you train the AI to track obstacles and moving objects? And how long do you need to auto list thousands of obstacles so the AI recognize those obstacles? Ini mungkin related to self-driving.
Yes. So this is actually a really good question karena this is more into AI, which is what I'm super interested in juga. Jadi mungkin obstacles itu yang di sini deh, yang di tengah. Dan how do we train the AI to know that ini itu truck gitu, ini itu car, ini itu pedestrians, right? We actually train it with a lot of examples. Jadi kita cuma kasih aja ke dia kayak ini tuh car, ini tuh car, ini tuh car, ini a different image, this is a car. Yang lain this is a car. That's why kalau misalnya kita lagi mau log into Google or something, login to Google, biasanya ada CAPTCHA ya kan? Dimana ada kayak klik the traffic lights gitu misalnya. Oh, aku klik ini sama ini. Itu basically training the AI karena oh now the AI know, oh itu traffic light, oh itu traffic light, oh itu traffic light. Terus kayak pasti ditanya juga misalnya CAPTCHA, ditanyain where is the zebra cross gitu kan. Oke, ini. Terus the AI learns kayak oh ini tuh zebra cross. Oke, from that millions, billions even of examples, we can train the AI. Oh jadi kalau misalnya kamu ketemu yang something yang shape-nya like this, then this is a car gitu. There must be some misdetection ya. Pasti ada yang mungkin ini car tapi kelihatannya kayak truck. Jadi the AI consider it as truck gitu. Tapi we're trying to lower it down, lower the misdetection down so that it's more accurate with more examples gitu. That's a really good question and lumayan advanced.
Awesome. Thank you. I think those are all of the questions that we have for now.
Okay, so thank you all for the question. It's been really great. You are super curious about computer science, which is super great. So lastly, I just wanna say follow us on Instagram and on TikTok karena di situ kita bakal ada some insightful reels tentang kayak life, gimana sih kerja as a software engineer, berapa gajinya, terus how to go into good universities and other things. And you can also recommend mungkin gini karena kita di SF di San Francisco kita ada driverless taxi jadi kayak Uber tapi nggak ada supirnya. We can also write that and then we can show it in the reels. So there's so much more interesting content coming in the Instagram and TikTok. So don't forget to follow us secretproject.ai. And then terakhir, I want to say thank you for all the future builders in here. Let's build a better world together. Thank you guys.